Ambush!
Let go! Sheila! In here!
Okay.
Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Seeing as how I mentioned it in my Alien Romulus review, I figured I'd bring you another review on a not remarkable, movie of remark. The movie In a Violent Nature. It actually does try to do something different as opposed to Alien Romulus, which doesn't really. It kind of just copy-pastes from the Alien series. It has some new ideas, but by and large it's pretty similar. In the Violent Nature tries to reinvent a little bit. It's a little bit like that, The Legend of Vernon Dursley or whatever it was, Behind the Mask or whatever it was. It follows the serial killer around, like this idea of following the serial killer around. It has been done before. Never straight up third person following a serial killer around. Usually it's presented as a documentary or mockumentary. There was originally a black and white one, I think it's Man Bites Dog or something like that. That came first, and then obviously there was Behind the Mask. They're usually a bit tongue-in-cheek, because the idea that a serial killer would be able to have a movie production sort of thing behind him, following him as he kills people, obviously it's very tongue-in-cheek. Like, the idea that a journalistic entity following them is just unethical. It'll never happen. He's obviously breaking the law there. You know, partner with his crimes, right? In a Violent Nature goes sort of along that route. It follows the killer rather than using some sort of plot device to follow the killer like those other movies. It is pretty much third person. A lot of people have said it's boring and it's slow burn. I disagree. It has a fair bit of visual storytelling in it, and because it focuses mainly on the killer and the killer doesn't speak or anything like that, it doesn't have the drawbacks of a slasher that follows like vapid, shallow sort of characters that are only introduced to kill off. And you also get a lot more escapism in the movie, because obviously it's not high school nerd jock bullshit politics and then people getting killed for it. You can just kind of turn off your brain and follow the killer around. It also has like some reasonably strong visual storytelling. Like, for example, the first dude that gets killed, without saying a word, although it does have words in it, in like a confrontation between the sheriff and the victim. The victim is pretty much demonstrated as a piece of shit, like as a cruel piece of shit, so you have absolutely no sympathy with him. He's a sort of trapper, and these days with ethical restraints, when you trap an animal, you can't just leave it to dangle and either starve to death or chew its own leg off and die from infection and blood loss, or choke to death, right? If you trap an animal, you got to euthanize it quickly. That's the idea behind it. But back out in the rural backwoods and that sort of shit, you get a cruel, callous, older-fashioned type of person that really truly doesn't give a fuck about causing pain and that sort of deal. The first victim and the first kill is basically that, right? It visually tells the story by the killer coming across a dead, decomposing wolf with like its eyes rotted out, that has its ankle caught in a trap and has a trail camera on it, meaning the trapper saw that the dog or wolf or whatever, the pest, was trapped, and it couldn't get away, and he literally let it either starve to death or die of shock or whatever from getting its leg trapped. And then he just didn't give a shit about it. He left it in the trap, and it's rotting in the trap. So, straight off the bat, the victim is a piece of shit. You really don't care if he morally gets got by the killer. And, like, just that storytelling alone, that visual storytelling, without, like, a single word, you learn that that guy's a piece of shit trapper, deserves to die. It's actually like pretty good structure and pretty good storytelling. Obviously it's very slow burn. It does follow the killer as he walks in between places and victims and stuff, so there's a lot of just walking, like focused on the back of the killer walking through the bush and all that sort of shit. That's where a lot of the criticism comes in. That's where people give it a lot of shit. It has basically replaced, you know, focusing on the back of the killer as he wanders in between and plans his ambush on victims. It's basically replaced shallow, vapid shit characters that you don't really give a fuck about. There is no, you know, plot development or character arcs with any of the characters. It's usually just the characters getting killed until it's the final girl, and then the final girl either gets away or manages to kill the killer and get away, right? It replaces all of that shit, unnecessary, bullshit, shallow characterization with just following the killer. And that is what this movie does different. Because it does that, it's significantly more serious. And it has more tension in it. And it has just less, you know, nonsense, shallow shit in it. And you can take it more seriously as a horror movie, and more serious as like a creative project, and as a slasher, by the way. The tension of how the killer's going to kill his next victim, or if he's going to do it, what the killer is doing, like that sort of deal, because the killer's sort of like a reanimated zombie. It's like a later stage sort of Jason type killer. And you don't really know what's going on behind his eyes, right? He theoretically is just a mindless killing machine, like seeking out a pendant thing that was stolen out of his grave. That sort of reanimated him, and he's just sort of killing people until he can try and find it. And that's what he's doing. He's searching and killing. But you don't really get a feel for what his motives are beyond that. And since you've got this killer where you can't quite decipher his motive, like the first thing he does is he stumbles across the, you know, decomposing wolf in the trap, and he seems to stop and sort of regard it. You can't really put yourself in the killer's mind on what he's thinking or feeling, besides the fact that his goal is to get back his little pendant thing. And that mystery of motive behind the killer is kind of what drives the movie, right? and it's kind of the point of the movie, especially given the climax of the movie. Besides that, it's got... I'll talk about the climax of the movie, like, right at the end, so if you're not really interested in you know, spoilers or anything, you'll have time, like, right at the end to avoid it. But it's, like, if you're after just, like, a gory slasher horror movie, it, like, does a pretty good job there, too. Like, it is slow burn, but when it gets going, the murders are absolutely fucking horrible. Like, spoilers, but one lady gets a hook, like, shoved through her gut, and then hooked into the top of her skull. And then the killer kind of puts a foot on her back and pulls her head through her own gut. And, like, that isn't just a quick process, that takes a while. And that's probably one of the more creative and gory fucking kills I've seen in a movie for a while. Another one, he uses a log splitter, and he breaks this guy's spine, just with his grip, by the way, so this killer is quite strong. He just reaches into his back, breaks his spine, and then puts him, like, in front of this extremely slow log splitter, and it just takes ages and ages, but eventually, like, cuts his head off. And all the while, the guy's eyes are moving, so he's still kind of alive. It's pretty fucking horrible. Like, if you're after just gore and seeing some novel kills, it does have novel kills in it. Then ultimately, for the ending, spoiler warning, it hints at his motive in the climax as just being he's just bad. The old lady in the drive, during the drive with the final girl sort of gets away, but the killer doesn't get killed or re-trapped or anything like that. So the whole movie ends up winding up being a bit of a slasher with a mystery as to the motive of how much the killer is there. And the final scenes of the movie are just this old lady who's rescuing this final girl, talking about just a piece of shit bear, like just an evil bear that's engaging in something called surplus killing, which is a thing in nature. It has another name, it's henhouse syndrome or whatever it's called. It's a thing where an animal just kills, and it doesn't kill for food, and it doesn't kill for safety, and it doesn't kill out of fear or anything like that. It's just sort of evil, and it just sort of kills. And that's like a real phenomenon, right? A real phenomenon in nature. And that sort of hints at the motive of the killer, that he's just sort of evil and he's going to keep on killing, and some people are just evil and have henhouse syndrome and are just, you know, sort of keep on killing, right? Because at the end the killer sort of retrieves his amulet thing, and it's sort of left open-ended whether or not he's going to keep killing or not, to leave it open, I guess, for some sort of sequel, because it's like a slasher, right? But a lot of the reviews didn't really put two and two together when they reviewed the movie, right? They didn't make the connection between the seemingly mindless killer and his motive or anything like that, and which is like the main reason why most people watch slashers, right? It has that mystery element. You kind of want to know what the killer's up to, right? And the movie plays on that. It plays on the motive of the killer, and the ending story is, the resolution is some, like, people and animals and things just have henhouse syndrome, are just like sort of evil pieces of shit and just kill, and there doesn't need to be a rhyme or reason with it in nature. And that's the title. It's got more depth than people are giving it credit for, and its execution is actually pretty well done. It's obviously slow burn, but it has pretty intense gore when it has it, so it's not like one of these suspense-focused sort of films. It's pretty exploitative, but it has a bit of depth to it as well. And it does reinvent the genre, well, the slasher genre, enough to be considered unique and to be remarked upon. Probably well, like 7 or 8 out of 10, but mind you, probably don't give it a watch if you don't like gory horror movies. But if you do like gory horror movies and you do also appreciate suspense, give it a watch. But if you prefer suspense but don't particularly like gore, and you prefer well executed suspense and stuff like that, you will find a bit here, but it does also fucking indulge in gore. So it will depend upon taste and preference whether or not you like the movie. But I thought it was well done enough to, well, unique enough, let's say. Especially, you know, these days. Unique enough to deserve a quick, you know, 10-20 minute review. Give it a watch if you like gory horror movies, I guess. Probably perfect for Halloween.
Don't take any risks.
Oh. Start out. Be ready. You better run! Okay. Find another angle!
Roger that! Evie! Push in!
In here!
Evie! Jesus! We're under attack!
What have we got, guys? We fucking got anything?
No! Right there! Mateo! Push forward!
Heads up! You got it!
I got it! Destroy the door!
Keep it up!
All right! Right in here! Got to...
In the building! Get closer!
Oh shit! Found you!
Downed one.